welcome back to my channel. Today is a very important topic. I feel like this is a topic that's been very misunderstood. A lot of people think it's the same thing when it's actually not. And I want to talk about a spiritual awakening versus a Kundalini awakening, because they are not the same thing. And a lot of people think they are, and it's not. One is a rise of consciousness. The other one is a rise of a dormant energy that's within your body. And they do two different things. If you've watched my video where I talk about my Kundalini awakening experience, this is like, I guess, a deeper layer to that video. Because again, a spiritual awakening and a Kundalini awakening are not the same thing. They're two different things. So if you want to hear, based on my experience, what the difference between a spiritual awakening and a Kundalini awakening is, then please keep watching. I actually took some notes on my phone because I felt like I didn't want to miss anything. So I'm just opening up the notes app. Okay, so right now, a lot of people on planet Earth are experiencing a rise in consciousness. They're starting to question their reality. They're starting to let go of the illusions and opening up to depth of knowledge. They know, like, a lot of people are talking about seeing angel numbers constantly. They're questioning whether their life purpose is their life purpose or is it something that they were told to do. A lot of people are questioning being part of the system, you know, the system of the 50-year plan or the 9-to-5 plan and things like that. So a lot of people on planet Earth are waking up to a higher level of consciousness. And what that is actually a spiritual awakening, which is the sign of an expanded consciousness or awareness. Now, what are some of the things that you'll start noticing when this is occurring is increase of patterns, synchronicities, and deeper meanings. It's where you start questioning, like, why are things the way that they are? Am I in my life's highest purpose? Or should I change careers? All of a sudden, it's like you feel like you want to change something about the way that you're doing because you feel like there's a different version of you that's arising. And what it is, it's a higher level of consciousness of you. You start becoming aware of patterns. They could be ancestral patterns that were passed down to you from your family lineage, like your parents or your whether it's your father line or your maternal line. Wanting to learn about dissolving your ego and not wanting these titles or these like doing things because, you know, they're competition or just because other people are doing it. The dissolving of the ego is one of the harder ones because you really gotta start doing that inner child healing work as well with this concept, because it's all about detachment and detaching from an old identity. And that's where the shadow work and all that stuff comes to play, where people are having basically shedding old aspects of themselves, shedding old identities or identities that were projected onto you. That also comes up when that illusion of the veil drops during a spiritual awakening. But basically what it is, it's like a deeper questioning of reality and purpose and truth and wanting to be more authentic to yourself, authentic to your voice. These are all signs of a spiritual awakening. And you also notice like different layers of it. Like, again, the synchronistic events where you feel like things are guided, your heightened intuition, you feel like things are falling into place as long as you follow your flow. Here are some of the signs of knowing you're in a spiritual awakening is you see repeating numbers, symbols, animals, aligned events, that's the synchronistic events, feeling more intuitive or even more guided in life. Emotional waves of realization, that's the inner child stuff too, that can also arise as well. Like knowing that there's depth to things, there's more deeper meanings to life, that life isn't just what we've been told. A desire to change or align with your truth. This is a big one. This is what we're seeing right now, where people are stepping up to wanting to do more creative endeavors, starting to share their path, especially nowadays we're connected to phones and we easily can put things on YouTube or TikTok, Instagram, and start sharing, and people are like all aligning. So this is that spiritual consciousness evolution of awakening. The difference between the spiritual awakening and a Kundalini awakening is, first, spiritual awakening has to do with a rise of consciousness, awareness, and depth of that. Where Kundalini is different, it's all energetic. Basically, with Kundalini awakening, it's a rise of a dormant energy that's within all of us. And this isn't something that can be forced to just awaken. It is basically a dormant energy that rises like a serpent from the base of the spine to your crown. And when it does this, it's very intense. It's very deep. It is very life-changing. And it could be very overwhelming. It can be extremely overwhelming because I've experienced both a spiritual awakening and a Kundalini awakening. But here's the thing, not everyone on planet Earth is going to experience a Kundalini awakening. Because with a Kundalini awakening, you can experience a spiritual awakening right after or simultaneously. But a spiritual awakening does not activate a Kundalini awakening. Kundalini has to do with energetic changes in your energy field. So basically, when this energy rises from the base of your spine to your crown, it's basically like a serpent. And it's awakening all your chakras and releasing old dormant energy. This can also be tied to a past life. You have to be ready to do some very deep spiritual work because you'll start having very intense dreams. I started having very intense dreams of past lives. I started questioning my reality, not just my current reality, but also questioning things that we've been taught, like religion. I started questioning things like why are things a certain way. I wanted to dive deep in ancient knowledge because I was starting having dreams of like ancient Egypt and ancient civilizations that I didn't even understand at the time until I started diving deep in history. What else did it heightened certain psychic abilities I already had. So like my empathic energy, it was very hard to be around people. I needed to isolate. I wanted to be out more in nature than I already was. It sent me on a whole spiritual journey of releasing old stagnant energy. One of the things that I noticed that because when the Kundalini energy rises, and other people have noticed this too, is that it can disrupt cause digestion issues. One is like because our gut is like our second brain. You know how we say our gut feelings, things like that. I even talk about that in my Mount Shasta video because after the rise of the Kundalini that same year in 2013, I was sent to Mount Shasta. I went and gazed with a guy called Brazzo. That was very life-changing. It sends you on a spiritual journey, but it's not just the same as a spiritual awakening. You go very deep and it's like peeling layers of an onion. And there's different stages to a Kundalini awakening. Yes, the rise of the Kundalini is one, but there's different stages that can go on for years. And the initial part is very overwhelming though. It's that heat and that intense emotional rising. That's where it's really can be very overwhelming and very powerful. Some people feel like movements and shaking. I remember I felt like these like little spins I would get when the energy would start rising. It would feel like I'm going in circles. And one healer told me that's because the Kundalini it hasn't gone to the crown and it's just spinning in one of the chakras. So basically you're feeling that intensity. And when I would feel in the emotions when they would rise, they would feel like mental breakdowns. So I was getting a lot of shadow work done. I remember from, even up till recently, I was doing a lot of hypnotherapy, equine therapy. I had a shaman working on me energetically. A lot of stuff that I dealt with was stress related. So doing breath work to release the deeper layers of meditation. But you can do Joe Dispenza's meditations. They're good too. Or you can just do chanting music is what I do. Things like that. Some deeper layers of healing, release energy. Because all Kundalini is about releasing energies that are trapped in the fascia, that are trapped in the chakras, that are trapped. Because when that serpent rises, when you have a Kundalini awakening, it's basically calibrating. Basically, you send out and comes down, goes up and it goes down. So that's what's happening in the energetic field. It almost feels like electricity. Honestly, that's what it felt like to me. Just to touch on this one more time, a spiritual awakening expands awareness, and a Kundalini it's an energy activation, a dormant energy that's lying within us. And again, not every single person on planet Earth is going to experience a Kundalini awakening. You cannot force it. And when it happens, it's an undeniable feeling. And it can be scary. I'll be honest, it can be scary because you don't know what's happening if you don't know what's happening, if that makes sense. Which is rare. If your soul wants you to have a Kundalini awakening, You can have that first, and then it triggers a spiritual awakening, but a spiritual awakening will not trigger a Kundalini awakening. It doesn't work like that. It works the other way around. A spiritual awakening is more about emotional intensity, where a real Kundalini awakening is very disruptive, physical, and undeniable. Again, that heat rising. When I was going through that in 2013, that's why it was so easy to recall all the memories, is I journaled about it, and I experienced a lot of things, a lot of changes in my, not just my eating habits, like I couldn't eat the same way, I couldn't drink. You can experience some of these in a spiritual awakening, but it's deeper because now you cannot go backwards. You cannot. Like I became plant-based during my Kundalini awakening. And then I had no plans to. There was no more alcohol consumptions. And every time I tried, honestly, it ain't gonna happen because you'll purge it out. Because the energy is too high vibration for low vibration alcohol. You won't want to be around certain people anymore, and you cannot. You'll feel it. You'll almost feel energetic sickness when you're around certain energies. It won't feel the same. Again, Kundalini energy has to do with a lot of energetics. It goes much down the rabbit hole. It's much deeper. It's much more life-changing and very overwhelming. Very, very overwhelming when it occurs because you don't know what's happening to you. So yeah, I hope this video answers some questions on the differences of spiritual awakening and Kundalini awakening. They're very different things and very different feelings. And ever since I had my Kundalini awakening, like all these years, I somehow miraculously have people come to me out of nowhere, like just like my story about my friend Bob in my last video, where he was experiencing a spiritual awakening and he came to me and he was telling me he's seeing number patterns and all these things, and I'm like, oh yeah, he's going through a spiritual awakening. And then I asked him, like, have you ever had the Kundalini awakening? He's like, no, I don't even know what that is. And I was like, okay. For him, I could sense he was probably going to have one. Not that he was just a master number 33, but I could feel his energy. There was something shifting, and even words that he was talking about. But I told him a little bit about, I said, the thing is with the Kundalini awakening, you can't force it to happen. It's going to happen, and it's on a soul level. If your soul wants you to experience it, you're going to experience it. And it's very life-changing, and you can't go back. Where with spiritual awakening, you can have a little bit of play. Kundalini awakening, it'll wash people out of your life. People will be gone. It's very profound. I don't even know how, I don't even have the words to describe it unless someone experiences it. But again, these videos that I do are based on my own experiences. I was gonna add one more thing and the crows are going crazy. The Kundalini energy is very sacred. It's not something that you can chase because it burns away your old identity and your old self. You actually end up becoming a different person. That's why they call it the Phoenix energy as well, because it's like the divine energy. It will change you. It will change aspects of you, and when you turn around and look at yourself, you won't recognize yourself. And that is something that I wanted to add before we go. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you like these types of videos and you want to see more, or you want to know more in depth about the Kundalini energy and the different levels of spiritual awakening and things like that, then please like this video, and also you can mention in the comments if you want to see a part 2. If you do, then I'll do a part 2 video. I feel like this is something that should be talked about more and more, especially with more people experiencing a spiritual awakening. And I'm sure there are people experiencing a Kundalini awakening, even though it's not as common. But who knows? Life is a mystery, and things on this planet are changing every single day. So again, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye for now.